Hey everybody, good afternoon. Lancey Peterson here, Ride with Peterson. Today it is Sunday, July 2nd, 2023. It is now 12:21 in the afternoon. And I have been thinking about why tipping is so important. And I had a very interesting conversation with my best friend over the last 2 days. And I learned some very difficult truths about me. And one of the things I keep in mind is actually two important things I keep in mind about any person I encounter. Every person has withstood, endured, survived pain to get to this moment in time. No one has had it easy. I don't care what it looks like. If you think a person had it easy, you would be surprised of the pain that another person has had to endure to get to this moment in time. That's the first thing. And the second thing is a person can do or say anything, but you will always remember how that person made you feel. And usually people remember the pain before they remember the happiness. And when it comes to tipping, this is my theory, but I think if you think about it, it really just makes a lot of sense. The customers don't care to tip because they don't care. Their thing is, hey, Uber told me that the trip is $1, so I'm going to pay $1 and nothing more. The customers don't care what it costs you to deliver the trip. The fact that you came and picked them up and took them to where they needed to go, and it only costs the customer $1 for that trip, that's all they care about. They're not trying to chip in extra. Whatever extra is your problem, because the rider has their problems. The reason why they're taking Uber is because they are unwilling or unable to drive themselves. So when it comes to tipping, I remember the tippers that tipped me really big. And when I say really big, I mean $100 tips. That happened twice for me. Once when I was Uber SUV, and another when I was Uber Lux. And in both of those instances, what I did for them was valued so much that they gave me a tip that let me know how much what I did for them mattered. So much so that to this day, I remember the exact circumstances, the reasons, the origination point, and the destination of those trips. The majority of the 5,000 plus trips I gave, I've forgotten about all those trips. Because most of them, I just got what I agreed to, which was the $1 that I was going to get for the trip to pick them up, take them, and that's it. But those two trips, I will never forget them. And that's what the tip does. It lets the driver know that they are valued. When you know you're valued, You go above and beyond. You do things for those who value what you bring to the table. You go above and beyond for those versus the ones who don't care. We already know the company doesn't care because all they care about is the bottom line to make sure that the company survives. So what they will do, what they are doing, is after years of telling the customers, you don't have to tip. The tip takes care of everything. And after years of the drivers fighting for tips, the pendulum is going the other way. The customer, the company is driving down what they will pay the drivers. If they could get away with paying the drivers 0.5 cent per mile and 0.5 cent per minute, they would do it. But what they're doing is they're saying, hey, riders, tip your drivers. Tip your drivers well. They're shifting the blame from the company to the customers. The company is saying they're spending all this money to keep the infrastructure going so all these drivers can be paid, which is something they don't want to do. So what's going to end up happening is when it becomes apparent to the drivers that the customers don't care, they're going to be waiting 10, 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, an hour for a car to pick them up. And then as the driver sees that the customers, they're not going to tip. They won't tip. They will never tip because they don't care. When enough drivers feel that, the company is going to slowly erode to irrelevance because agreements cannot be made on what the driver should be paid for the service they deliver, for the equipment they bring to the table, for the time they spend, for the care they give the customers. The drivers are going to go away because they will always remember how the customers truly feel about them because they know what the company feels about them. But now you have drivers that are saying, hey, since I can't convince the company to pay me more, I have to focus on the customer to pay me more. I have to make sure I show up in the nicest car. I have to make sure my car smells like an arboretum. I have to make sure it is clean. I have to make sure I give all kinds of little extras sprinkled throughout the car. I have to make sure I drive a way that keeps this person happy. And I have to make sure I get 5 stars from this customer. Because when you go through all that, when the drivers go all through this stuff to make the customer happy, and they do everything right, and they get 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star, and no tip, and that happens over and over and over again, then the drivers will rightfully feel the customers, the riders, they simply don't care. They don't care about me, and they clearly don't care about having good service. They don't care about having a good driver. They don't care about having a good experience. So they'll go on to somewhere else. and we have the problem we have now. In order to fix this, ultimately, there is only one group of people who can truly fix this, because the company won't do it. And that's the riders. The riders must start tipping the drivers. Because if they don't, the day will come when there won't be any rides, because there won't be any drivers, because the customers are telling the drivers they don't care. And when they say that, what they are doing is they are actually rejecting the drivers. And that is painful, and people do not like pain. And so what will happen? Folk will run away. I will catch you on the next video. I look forward to your comments.